I heard this as I slowly opened my eyes to the darkness in the room. I hear it. I hear it way off in the distance. I took my clock and placed it under my pillow. Yes, I hear it clearly. That click, click, clack sound. I got out of bed and opened the drapes to see John Street lit up by the streetlight. It sounds like a typewriter. Who would be typing at this time of night? I went back to bed, took the clock from underneath my pillow, placed it on the table, and closed my eyes. All right, enough's enough. Off I went with my shoes in hand. As I made my way down the hill to the rock, I cocked my head to one side so that I could take in from where the noise was coming from. The sound echoed, but after I did another 360, I determined it was coming from the ravine. I crossed the street towards the dense bush of the ravine in the direction of the typewriter sound. Once at the bushes, I closed my eyes, covered them with my hands, and pushed my way through. The dense bush scratched my forearms as I pushed through, which stung a little. I finally made my way through to the clearing where I could see the stream. I've seen the stream many times before, but I've never seen that bridge. As I approached the old stone bridge over the stream, I could hear it again. Click, click, clack, click, clack. It was a little louder. As I passed over the rock's surface, I thought I heard a voice coming from underneath. But at that moment, the clickety-clack of the typewriter stopped. I must have been hearing things. I'm sure I heard a voice. By the time I reached the other side, the click-clack of the typewriter started again. The path over the bridge narrowed onto a dirt pathway into the forest, tightening into a denser area of poplar and pine trees. Along the dirt pathway through the tall pines, I enjoyed the crisp smell. The typewriter became increasingly louder as I headed deeper into the wilderness that blocked out any light from the night sky, but I wanted to see where the noise was coming from. It didn't make sense why someone would be typing in the middle of the night in the dark woods. The faint glow broke out from the tallest trees. I picked up my pace, encouraged by the small light coming from the cottage in the middle of the clearing. I made my way around the cottage, which had unusually large windows, to spy a bald, middle-aged man hunched over his desk typewriter. He wore dark sunglasses. A lit cigarette sat in his ashtray, its stream of smoke lifting into the air. As I neared the window, I could see him typing and typing, but there was no paper in the typewriter. He reached for a cigarette. Seeing his face still straight ahead, I realized that the man was blind. He took a drag and then exhaled as he lifted his head. He put the cigarette down and smiled to himself as if a thought just came to mind and began to type again. Click, click, clack. The noise was rather loud and irritating. It didn't make sense why this man would be toiling without any paper. I wanted to walk up to his front door and ask him if he was aware that he was just working on the roller versus paper, but I'm sure he knew what he was doing. In any case, I didn't want to disturb him, and it certainly wasn't any of my business. I'm not sure what the purpose of all this was, and I certainly didn't have the heart to tell him to stop making noise with this damned typewriter in the middle of the night. Why am I the only one this is bothering? I'm sure light sleepers on my street could hear this. Maybe it's just me. I paced the cottage a few times, thinking of ways of how I could let this man know he was making noise and not accomplishing anything, but decided to leave him alone and made my way back along the path. The click-clack of the typewriter weakened as I casually strolled through the forest. I stopped for a moment, turned back to study the cottage and the faint light in the window. I felt sad for the man because whatever it was he was smiling about, whatever it was that he was typing, was disappearing with every stroke of the key. My name is T.H. Cini. I'm the author of the book Tales of the Witching Hour. I just did a short reading of the story The Typewriter. If you'd like to know what happens with the typewriter, keep reading and check out my books on Amazon. Amazom.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and Amazon.au.